Hello everyone, so this here is a very inexpensive motor controller board which is available on eBay for usually about £10 to £15, and I've found out that it does do some form of regenerative braking. It's quite a good board actually. It absolutely beats the KT motor controller in every way really. This, with the Stance Coke firmware on it, just turns into a piece of garbage, and it runs the motor quite noisily and hot as well. The controller gets hot also, even after you spend hours recompiling the code, editing lines of code, and or changing all the settings according to the wiki. So I'm not going to say any more about that one because I'm absolutely finished with it. So I'll just do a sort of demonstration to show you how its regenerative braking behaves. It all just works through one throttle. There's no over voltage or under voltage limit, and it runs on 12 to 36 volts, although I would not go any higher than maybe an 8 cell battery on this, 8 cell lithium ion. So I'll spin up the wheel and just show you how it behaves. So the thing is, with a Hall effect throttle, you're not going to get the top speed out of it, unfortunately. It is designed for potentiometer throttles like this. The only way to get past its limitations is to run your throttle signal via an Arduino, and also have the Arduino control the over voltage and under voltage cutoff as well, because with the regenerative braking on this, there is a potential to overvolt your battery if it's fully charged. So I'm sorry that I cannot do a test run outside on it tonight, because I don't have lights for this bike, and I don't really like riding a bike unless I've got all the lights and everything, and plus you're not going to be able to see anything really anyway. So I'll show you how it performs. It's only got a 6 cell LiPo in it just now. So this meter here is just showing current going back into the battery. So I'll just spin up the wheel. So this is just with pedals. As you'd expect, nothing happens unless you're going quite fast. So what happened there was, that was when you go faster than the battery voltage, effectively. So the body diodes of the MOSFETs are just rectifying the 3-phase output from the motor and pushing it back into the battery. But it also does active regenerative braking, so it will actually boost up the motor voltage if you're going too slow. So say for instance I'm just spinning the wheel slowly and I apply a little bit of throttle, it's regenerating, and that's just with my arm. So imagine I went down a hill doing that, it's going to probably throw a lot of current back into the battery. So if I run it at full speed, so then I pedal at that speed and then just reduce the throttle a little bit. As you can see, it's like you can control the regenerative braking using the throttle. The only other problem is, say you're going quite fast and you're not using the throttle, and then you start using the throttle, it does sort of sound quite rough, and it puts a sort of strong jolt on the motor. But I think the current limiting on this will prevent it from being too severe. The only other criticism I have for this board is the throttle response is pretty slow. So if I just snap the throttle on full speed, the throttle response isn't brilliant, but I can live with that. Considering how cheap the controller is, that's not a problem. The throttle response is about the same as the KT motor controller as well. And plus, what I really like about this is there's no resistance on the motor at all. When you're not touching the throttle, it's not fanning about with the motor. It just stops like any controller should, unlike once you put open source firmware on this, the Stanscoke stuff, it's just constantly farting about with the motor. It's dragging the motor, putting a drag on the motor, regenerating when you're not even touching the throttle, and the guy can't even implement the PWM off feature, which means that everything just switches off when you release the throttle. It's like everyone else seems to be able to do it, and I wish I knew more about C++ and everything, because I'd be able to fix all these problems, but I've got so many other projects just now, it would take me years to sort of learn it. So yeah, I just thought I would share that. These boards could potentially be used in electric bikes to give you some form of regenerative braking and a affordable package. I think it's a square wave controller, but even then it seems to be running the motor really quietly and efficiently. It might even not be a square wave controller. It might be sine wave, I don't know. Considering how quietly it runs the motor, I think it might be actually sine wave. But anyway, I'll release another video throughout the week when I get a chance to test this on a riding situation. I'll just put this amp meter on the handlebars and record a video of it to let you see how it performs.